In this video, we're going to share our typical 3 days and tres noches itinerary because we get a lot of comments with people saying there is no way that 3 days is enough time to have an amazing vacation. And in fact, if you're new to our channel, that's why we created 3 days and tres noches. One, to bring you honest, to the point reviews and travel tips about the destinations that we go to, but two, to show you that you don't need a whole week to have an amazing vacation, that you can do it in 3 days and tres noches. Okay, so the very first rule of thumb when you are planning your 3 days and tres noches all-inclusive resort vacation is you have to pick a resort or a country that you can get to in a plane nonstop within 3.5, I would say 5 hours max. And nonstop really is the key word when it comes to planning this type of vacation because you don't have time to be sitting in airports for layovers and connecting flights. So really look for those nonstop flights so that you can get the most out of this type of itinerary. Now, in addition, once you've decided on your destination, so you don't have to decide the resort yet, but let's say you've narrowed it down to Cancun or Punta Cana or wherever it might be, you want to make sure that your airport has early morning flights the day that you're leaving, and then the day that you're coming back, that it has later afternoon flights. For popular destinations such as Cancun and Punta Cana, this is usually not an issue, but it's important that you look into this ahead of time, especially if you're only going to be doing that 3 nights at the all-inclusive resort so that you can get the most out of your vacation. And now that you've chosen your travel destination, it's time to choose the resort. And in fact, I do a whole video to help you narrow this down and really find the right resort for you. Of course, you can always use a travel agent, which is a great idea. But one of the biggest things that you want to look at when you are planning a 3 days and tres noches all-inclusive vacation is that the resort is not too far away from the airport. Ideally, you would find one that is less than 30 minutes away, but I tried to pick ones that are not more than an hour. Because time is of the essence, so you want to make sure that you can get to the resort as soon as possible after landing in the airport. So now that we have some basic rules of thumb, let's get into the itinerary. So on day 1, in the morning that you're leaving, you want to choose a flight that leaves approximately between 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And hopefully you've taken the advice that I've given earlier in the video and you've chosen a direct flight and a destination that is within 3 to 5 hours of your departure city. Because the goal is to get you to your destination before noon or right around noon. A few quick tips. One is always arrange transportation before arriving. If you watch any of my videos, you know I'm really big on that. It's a must when you're traveling anywhere. Also, always call the resort and request an early check-in. Now, it doesn't always happen. In fact, I think more often than not, it doesn't happen, but there will be occasions where you can get into your room early because check-in is normally 3 or 4 o'clock, but it doesn't matter because all-inclusive resorts make it really easy for you to enjoy the resort while you're waiting for your room. Okay, so it's just about noon. You've arrived, you've arranged your transportation, you are in the taxi or in the transportation to your resort, and that means you're going to arrive to your resort between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. Once you arrive to the resort, hopefully the check-in process is not too lengthy. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes. But again, usually your room will not be ready. So then they have changing areas that you can change into something so you can enjoy the pool and the beach while you're waiting. And one thing I've started to do is actually put the clothes I'm going to change into in a Ziploc bag, put it right on top of the suitcase with my flip-flops so it's really easy to access and get changed into. By this time, we're pretty hungry, so we always first go to lunch when we arrive. And I always do my research ahead of time. I usually know exactly where we're going to go. I do try to make it maybe the poolside grill or something along those lines so that we can enjoy the pool and eat at the same time while we're waiting for our room. Then after we eat, we usually check the beach out to see what the beach is like. Sometimes sit on the beach, and usually we just sit there and have drinks and wait until our room is ready. Now, if the typical check-in time is 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., it gives you a good 1 to 2 hours to have something to eat, to check out the pool and the beach. Now, once the room is ready, we get settled in, and usually this is the time I take a nap because I probably got up at 4 a.m., I'm exhausted, and I know I'm probably gonna be up late, so it's a perfect time to set aside an hour just to unwind, even if you don't sleep, or take a nice nap. Now, usually the first night that we arrive, I always make really late dinner reservations. So I try to do the last reservation possible because one, I want to take a nap. And when I get up from my nap, I want to go back and get some more pool and beach time. And since we are going to be having dinner late, this is a good time for a snack. So either I would order room service before I go back to the pool or beach, or I'll find, go back to the pool grill, or usually they have some area where they have snacks and small bites at the all-inclusive resort. After some more time at the beach and the pool, then it's time to go back to the room and start getting ready for dinner. Again, I usually make dinner reservations or plan on having dinner around 9 p.m. on our first night, just so that we can enjoy as much of the resort as possible during the day while we're there, especially if it's good weather. Definitely check out the videos I did about packing, especially the one about packing light when you're going to an all-inclusive resort, because you can repurpose items, and I try to keep it really simple so that I can get ready very quickly and enjoy the resort as much as possible, since we're only traveling for a short amount of time. So for the rest of the night on day one, we just enjoy what the resort has to offer. Sometimes they have great entertainment at night. Sometimes they have shows or a nightclub, a lobby bar, whatever it is. We're going to explore the resort a little bit more, mingle, meet people. And then usually I'm in bed by 12 or 1 o'clock at the latest. Now, day two can go a few different ways. Believe it or not, we usually like to schedule an excursion. Even though we're traveling for a short amount of time, we like to explore as much of the area as possible, plus do a review for you guys. So sometimes we will do that on day two, but usually we actually save that for day three. The only downside of saving it for day three is the chance that it could get canceled because of weather if it's an outdoor excursion. So we still like to wait for day three, because day two we're still unwinding, and we want to save day two to really explore the resort and just have a complete resort day. Now, day two, I do usually like to get up on the early side, so it starts around 8 a.m. and we go to the breakfast buffet, one of the breakfast buffets, and then we do a beach walk. If you are someone who likes to do spa services while at the resort, then day two is a great day to do that. And I recommend that you do make the reservations before you arrive, because if you wait, they will probably be full. So make the spa reservations before arriving to the resort. Day two, we follow a typical schedule, kind of like we would at home. So breakfast at typical time, lunch at typical time. And again, we just use this day to really enjoy the resort. We sit by the pool, we sit by the beach. Of course, we do some filming. We look at the events, because lots of times they have events and games, and see if there's anything we want to film or participate in. So usually by 5 p.m. we're done at the resort for the day. We're ready to go back to the room and get ready for dinner. So day two, I usually make a reservation, if they take reservations, between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. So this is going to be an earlier night for us typically, because usually in day three, we do an excursion. And we end day two very similar to day one, where we have dinner, and then afterwards we just enjoy any of the nightlife that they have to offer. And again, it's a little bit of an earlier bedtime, because we usually have to get up early the next morning to leave for an excursion. So now it's day three, so we're going to be heading out on an excursion, and that means we have to get up early. So we always save room service breakfast for day three, because we can schedule it the night before and have it delivered at a certain time, so we can get ready and eat at the same time. Organized excursions usually leave around 8 a.m. depending on where you're going, and we always try to pick a half-day excursion, because even though it says 3 to 4 hours, usually by the time everything's said and done, it's like 5 or 6 hours. So it's more like a full day excursion, but then we're going to have some time when we get back to rest and enjoy the resort a little bit more. I actually do separate review videos on all the excursions that we take, so make sure you check those out as well. And typically we get back to the resort around 3 o'clock, so that gives us plenty of time to enjoy the resort some more, hang out at the pool and the beach, get something to eat before getting ready for the night. And on the last night, we also make late dinner reservations, since we've been on an excursion, so that when we come back, we can kind of relax, recharge before the night. And then after dinner, we enjoy our last night of nightlife, whatever they have, or entertainment going on. Maybe stay out a little bit later, depending on what the resort offers. We've also gone off the resort for nightlife in Cancun and Playa del Carmen. And Felt safe both times. In fact, I do a video about this as well. So if you're someone a little bit more adventurous, that's definitely something you should try because it's really, really fun. And now it's day 4, sadly, the last day, the day that we're leaving. So typically, I try to wake up a little bit earlier because if our flight doesn't leave until usually 4 or 5 o'clock, we have the entire morning to enjoy the resort. And one of the things I love to do is hydrotherapy the morning before I'm leaving. Lots of times you get hydrotherapy free if you're doing an upgrade, or sometimes it's only like $35 to $40 a person. And I usually save this for the last morning because hydrotherapy is an amazing detox. So, because they put you in the hot and the cold, you feel absolutely amazing afterwards. And from a week long of probably drinking too much, eating too much, maybe being up late, it's a great way to refresh before heading back home. And then checkout is usually 11 or noon, but we always request a late checkout. Usually we do get it because we upgrade, to the premium or club level, and that's usually part of the package. So then what we'll do after hydrotherapy is, we have breakfast, we'll enjoy the pool and the beach, get in the water some more, and then head back and pack, usually around 11 or so, maybe a little bit later. It doesn't take us too long to pack, and then check out. Then once we're checked out, we sometimes have more time. So we won't necessarily go to the pool or the beach again because we're showered and ready to go, but we'll have lunch and just enjoy, maybe walk around the resort a little bit more before heading back to the airport. And then sadly, it's time to head back home and go to the airport. So I hope you found this video helpful. I wanted to share a typical itinerary with you because a lot of people question whether or not you can have a really fun vacation in a short amount of time. And I know a lot of factors depend on it, specifically where you live. Obviously, if your flight is 6-7 hours, it's really hard to have a vacation for 3 or 4 nights, but this could really be applied to almost anything. Even if you're driving, you're taking a weekend vacation, just to show you how you can fit some things in a short amount of time. And like I mentioned earlier, I started this channel because I personally and professionally had time constraints that prevented me from traveling as much as I wanted to. So I just kind of started traveling for 2 nights here, 3 nights here, and I thought, wow, this is something that other people need to know as well. Plus, I wanted to do travel reviews and travel tips. So please keep following us because we're going to go on longer vacations. We have a lot of projects coming up, a lot of traveling coming up, and we want to take you with us.